Welcome to Retro Reload! And this is Kyle. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you enjoyed E3 this week, and we have a very E3 episode for you. For everyone else on the show, we have...
I'm Jeremy, and with us is returning is Speed Racer.
We can't hear you waving, Speed Racer.
Oh, yeah, I'm Speed Racer.
Thank you for the clarification.
Hi, I'm Lizzie.
Lizzie, always wonderful to have you on the show. I am Dash V for reasons that will become obvious about 5 minutes into the show. So, and this is our episode E3 for everyone. Yay! Woohoo! Yay! All right. So, folks, we were following you guys along. The chat is already fired up. We got Robert Walker, we've got Adam Blevins, and we've got String Bean Coffee in there just talking up a storm about their thoughts on E3, which is really, really good. I always love to have the action there in the chats. So we'll be getting to some of their thoughts and some of their comments interspersed throughout the show. But first, I guess I wanted to get the overall take on E3. What were your overall thoughts, Jeremy?
Overall, not the greatest E3 I've seen, but not too disappointed with it.
Okay. All right. What about you, Speed Racer? Sorry, hard to tell from the nickname down there in the.
It's all good. Overall, I mean, I want to say it was good, but I'm not really excited about anything we had this year. I mean, there's some games I really like, but again, it just seems it was kind of blah.
Gotcha. So, Kyle, what about you?
Well, what I'm wondering, we have Speed Racer on the show, but I'm not seeing like a cool helmet or an ascot or where's the uniform?
Maybe next year.
Just like to show off.
This is his secret identity.
Secret identity, just a normal guy in his background.
Yeah. By night he's Speed Racer. By day he's Spider Dancer.
Exactly.
No one would expect.
Well, no one would, but maybe if you can get a cool car in the background next time, get like white car.
I got the motorcycles. You can't see the bikes?
No, I can't.
No, it can't.
We need to see those later. But well, I didn't actually watch much of the E3 stuff live, so I was kind of playing catch up, watching people's video summaries and Jeremy's summary and everything of it. It was fine, I guess. I'm not really there's not a lot of games that I really had on my list even before E3 that I would have really been looking forward to or announcement for. So I'm just pretty impartial on it. I think we are getting some new XCOM DLC, kind of like an expansion. So I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of stuff that was on my radar. So it was kind of interesting to see how everyone was reacting to it and their opinions, though, on how each show was going. So I imagine we'll be talking a lot more about that.
Oh yeah. GameStop had an incredibly good run. Good blah.
Come on, Chris.
Stop.
Get it out.
Reboot. Start all over again. So they did a pretty good run through of a bunch of the different games and stuff like that. Especially the Microsoft panel. I thought that they did a really good job covering it. They came out firing on all cylinders, but we'll get to that later. Lizzie, we got all the Sonic stuff ahead of E3. That kind of took the wind out of the Sega sails, I think. What do you think?
Well, considering I'm kind of giving all my love and attention to Sonic Mania, I mean, I gotta say the video for that Sonic Forces was actually pretty badass. I mean, you got four villains from 4 separate games who you have to know the story behind that. But yeah, I mean that looked really cool. I saw pictures of the Sonic Sega booth, like Sonic Forces, Sonic Mania. That looked really cool. I don't really have much positive things to say about Sega right now, because I mean, pretty much guaranteed I'm gonna support Sonic Mania. That's pretty much true. I liked the fact that they had a Crash Bandicoot mascot walking around and dancing. So that's pretty cool. So that made me go, hey, that kind of makes me want to really get the game now more too. I hope to see something more with Bubsy, since I kind of ignored both Bubsy and Crash. So,
Hello? Hello? Sorry, that's from the game, anybody that's played.
yeah, I kind of ignored Bubsy and Crash, so now that they're
Yeah.
back, I can kind of say, okay, I'll give you guys some attention since Sonic Mania is kind of my last game for a while. So that's all I can really say.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Bubsy was kind of out of left field there. I think Robert did mention the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I was like super obsessive over Crash Bandicoot when I was a kid, so I do need to pick that up eventually and give that a playthrough. It'd be cool to see Spyro get the same treatment too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure Craig Stitt would love to see Spyro make a comeback too. He says that his license plates say "Go Spyro." So
Nice.
he was one of the graphics artists down when Spyro, when they were first coming up with him as a concept, trying to pick which color he'd be and all that other stuff. He was one of the ones that worked, with it, and so there's a special place in his heart for Spyro. So you guys can go check out that. I keep every episode. I find nice, clever ways to kind of give a shout out for a previous episode, and then I drop a link in the doodly doo. It's part of my way of making the older shows relevant.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Chris.
You're not paying me enough to where I can afford shirts that fit me, so I need a bit more. I need a bit more money. The bucks aren't that big.
Oh, that's exactly why I'm giving you that much money.
I thought it was to take them off. I've been getting it backwards this whole time.
No, I'm much more a shirt on kind of guy.
Oh, okay. All right. On that note, Jeremy.
First up was EA, I believe, on Saturday.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on EA, Jeremy?
EA
I was
very
not.
disappointing, I thought.
It wasn't disappointing to me, but to give you some perspective, like generally, I don't expect much from EA. I mean, I know there's going to be some sports games. I know that there's going to be some other games that they're publishers for and everything, but Need for Speed and that kind of stuff. But I don't really get my hopes up all that high, so I guess I can't say that I was disappointed. Like, they showed what I expected they would show and how I expected they would show it. So
It's such a big company, you would think they'd try more at least. That's how I feel.
well,
I will say,
yeah, no. I mean, Speed Racer, I'll let you jump in with your
yeah,
comments.
no worries. I just think for EA, it was kind of funny. My wife doesn't play video games at all. If you were to throw her a controller, she wouldn't know what it's for. But she was watching the EA press conference with me, and she was like, "Wow, I can't believe they're actually doing this. This is a video game." And then we're watching the what is it, Madden? The Madden or
Yeah.
NFL, whatever it is. And she was totally blown away. Like, wow, there's like a story behind it, and there's like, it looks real. And she was, I mean, I don't play sports games, but she was totally drawn into the whole drama of free agency and NFL sports. It was kind of weird. It was a very
Yeah.
surreal moment for me.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me last year. I think it was with FIFA, right? They got I actually really dug the FIFA trailer and concept and where they were trying to go with it, with adding a backstory and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I never went on to actually buy the game or play it, but I at least found the presentation kind of entertaining. So what I respect about EA, and the thing that we have to remember is that the house that EA built wasn't built on taking lots of chances and taking lots of risks, right? It's been built on known quantities and, taking an engine and kind of tweaking it, tuning it, perfecting it, and then each year kind of challenging whether or not they really got it perfect or if there's still more to go. So right, wrong, or indifferent, it's a formula that's been working for them. So I'd be surprised the real surprise to me would be to see them change it up and say, hey, we're going to do something really different, or, so I wasn't disappointed, but I guess with you, Jeremy, I wasn't blown away either.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect to be. Anybody else have any thoughts on EA or Kyle?
I skipped it.
Yeah, I do like the addition of like the single player kind of campaign like mode for a sports game, just because that gives it like a little more structure. I liked how people were joking, is Madden going to be the new big RPG of 2017? But and a lot of people did bring up questions. It sounds like you're just going to be playing like an already pre-made character, like you're not making your own or anything.
No, I
which,
think it's make your own. I've seen before, so.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was just the name of the character was already set in stone, maybe.
I think it changed. I think it's just a placeholder name. I imagine it is.
Okay. All right. Well, that would be good then. You know, I don't know. It's not really going to bring someone like me probably to the table with those kind of games. You know, I like even though I don't play it much, Blood Bowl, just because I think it does combine how you can make like a tabletop sort of sports fantasy themed game, and actually make it something that takes it into that realm, I think, of a game that can get a lot of people's interest who may say, oh, I don't necessarily like sports games, but you have something kind of similar, I guess, in a similar vein. As for the EA thing, you know, I don't know. Some people were bringing up that part of the issue you're getting into is that rather than just like being purely like gameplay and trailers and some other things, we're kind of, I hate to say wasting time, but kind of wasting a lot of time on all of these, kind of making it almost like an entertainment show when it doesn't necessarily need to be that way. You know, I don't know. And I saw stuff for like Forza and Madden and FIFA and everything, but I'm just not really interested in that stuff. Someone did mention Battlefront 2, which it does look cool, but I don't know. I never played the original, so not a whole lot for me on my platter. I would like to get around to playing like Titanfall. I think that would be fun, and maybe if they came out with a new one. But it's just one of those things where EA is just doesn't really have a good rep, I guess, with me, and just not a whole lot of games that I'm really interested in from them. So that's just my gaming preference.
Yep. So I want to take a moment to kind of point out Tyler just recently joined us back. Hey, Tyler.
Hey.
How's it going, my friend?
Good.
What did you think of EA's show? Don't know, don't care, or a whole lot of love?
I caught most of it. I'm kind of with Kyle. I don't really care about the sports games. I don't, it's not for me. Battlefront 2 does look pretty cool. I actually just barely got the first Battlefront like a couple weeks ago, so I'm kind of messing with that a little bit. But I'm looking forward to it.
One thing I saw though was A Way Out, which is a new IP prison game, and it's actually local co-op. So, classic. You bring a friend over, you guys can play the game together, and that looked interesting. Kind of have a what was the game called again? I have my notes here. The Last of Us feel. I got that feeling from that game.
So
was that the prison breakout one? Was that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it looked interesting.
And also Anthem looked interesting.
Oh, Anthem, yeah.
Heads up, Tyler, I am getting just a little bit of feedback, so I've been toggling your mute, but feel free to unmute yourself and jump in with any commentary that you might have. So I guess we can move on to the Microsoft portion of it, huh?
Chris's favorite part. He's so excited about that Scorpio.
Well, I gotta tell you. So all of E3 is my favorite part, right? So, but yes, I have been excited to get the details on the Scorpio, launch date, price, all this other kind of stuff. I really like it. I think Microsoft is coming out swinging. The price point is $449, which is $50 less than the $500 price point that some were thinking would be the lowest end. It's certainly a far cry from the $600 price point. They're talking about launching that one on November 7th, which is going to be right in time for Christmas. Now, what really kind of impressed me though more than the Scorpio, because I'd already opened up, here's what the specs are, here's what it can do, and all this other stuff in previous articles, and I've talked about it on other shows. But what I thought was really interesting was like Microsoft corrected this E3, a problem that they've made in a lot of other previous E3s, which was just get to the games. They unloaded about 42 games, at least 30 of which are promised to be enhanced for the Scorpio. So anybody that's
22 games, 22 will be exclusive to Xbox. I wrote that down actually.
Yeah. Now they haven't said if the 22 that are exclusive are timed exclusives.
I think most are actually. So
they probably will be. But here's what's amazing, right? Whether they're exclusives or timed exclusives or whatnot. To me, the most impressive thing was that 30 out of those 42 games, they were saying, going to be optimized for the Scorpio. and by optimized for Scorpio, they mean 4K 60 frames a second. I thought that was pretty amazing. And what I thought was pretty interesting is that for a while, Microsoft has kind of been the whipping boy of having to deal with people going, well, if you want to play games in true 1080p, you'll get the PS4 because the PS4 does true 1080p, where the Xbox One, you know, it's 900 by something, so you're missing out on 100 pixels, right? They're making this big deal. Like a lot of these fanboys that I saw making these really big deals. Now they're the same people going, well, you know, like, who cares if the Scorpio is doing true native 4K at full resolution? Because, you know, the PlayStation's going at like half a 4K and then upscaling the rest of the way. So it's only, dude, before you were telling me that you cared about 100 pixels, but now you don't care about 1,000, I'm calling bullshit on that. Like, the Scorpio is a great console. I think that it's going to be, I think that it's going to be received pretty well. You know, if the developers can eke out extra frame rate, extra performance from it, as they've already shown us with the Pro, I think that they're going to do it. So I'm not going to go as far as to say Scorpio is better than the PS4, because at the end of the day, where I can agree with everybody is the games are going to tell the story. And so what I do think, though, is that 2018, which this seemed to be the theme of the whole E3, I think, Speed Racer, you'd mentioned that you're kind of like, eh. I was kind of as well, and when I thought about why am I like, there's a new console that's coming out that's amazing. There's a whole bunch of games that I'm really looking forward to, but I think the reason I was kind of was I'm looking forward to playing these games at the end of 2018 or maybe mid 2019. Like these were not, most of the games being shown by Microsoft at all are not games that are going to be coming out this year. They're games that they're teasing us with this year that maybe come out next year or the year following. And so I'm kind of pumped, but at the same time, like, I don't want another Zelda, you know, Breath of the Wild, where like I'm pumped for like 5 years for this game to come out, and when it finally does, it's on a different console than the one I bought to originally play it on. So
yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, yeah, Nintendo, I thought hit it home with Anthem. Looks amazing. I don't know if anybody here else saw Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that, Speed Racer?
You know, I'm a big Destiny fan. I got, you know, almost nearly 2,000 hours into Destiny. It looked like Destiny, but more in depth, more customization, more open world than Destiny is. It really, I'll be interested to see a lot more about that coming up. It really looks good.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like what I really liked about it was they didn't give hype, they just gave gameplay.
Exactly.
And so I did play Destiny for a while. I played it at my brother-in-law's on his Xbox One. The controls were really tight. The game, you know, played well enough. But I just didn't feel like the story was deep enough to kind of keep me there. And I'm not really a big fan of like online multiplayer where that's the only driver for the game. Right. So, but at least Anthem, I mean, I saw enough in Anthem to where I'm like, I still don't really know a lot about it, but I want to find out more. I don't know if it's a massively multiplayer game only or if there's a single-player campaign that's kind of strong. But the gameplay looked amazing. The graphics looked awesome. As you said, the open world looked breathtaking. So I'm part of me is kind of hoping that is a timed exclusive and that's going to hit PlayStation on the PlayStation VR. Because one of the things that I kept thinking was like some of these would be amazing in VR. Some of these shots would be amazing in VR. So, which we know is going to be longer arriving on the Xbox than on PlayStation. So Metro Exodus looked awesome as well. Looked really, really good. Another open world type of game. Jeremy, did you see that? What were your thoughts?
Metro, I've never played Metro. I've seen my friends play, but it looked amazing.
Yeah, that got me interested in actually
watching a movie. Yeah, it looked like a movie. Like when they were playing, I was like, "Wow, that's clean."
Yeah, when he shoots the dog and then he goes over and he picks up the the arrow. Now what we don't know, and this is what I didn't like about the Metro Exodus, was I couldn't quite tell if some of the animation where he's like moving around stuff with the hand and then he jumps off the cliff and like grabs the hand and is riding the train. I couldn't tell if any of that was cutscene and what was game.
Oh, that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, that's a point that other people were bringing up too. So we're not really sure about how much of that is kind of gameplay and everything.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Now I could see with some of that, to their credit, Tomb Raider was kind of that way. Like anybody that played the new Tomb Raider reboot, there's definitely parts where, and I love how games are able to do this. They use the camera in such a way that certain areas, like if you're crawling through a certain crawl space, or if you're like ducking under a cavern or whatever, they'll use the camera to like zoom and do special angles, and then they'll add in additional animations that kind of really make it feel like it's a person kind of navigating through those tight spaces, rather than just have it be you kind of like clunking through like Resident Evil, where you're clipping along every single wall until you finally, you're spamming the A button until you finally like hit the door, right? And then you go through the door. So, so it certainly is possible that a lot of what we saw is gameplay footage, but they get interspersed so much, it's kind of hard to tell. So I'm cautiously optimistic about Metro, Exodus. Cuphead, we got a release date for Cuphead. I don't know if you guys had heard of Cuphead before that. It's been in development forever.
I never really took interest to it.
It looks good. It looks good.
I'm loving it. It's a shooter, but it uses graphics from like the old Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse era. So really, really awesome. They've been working on this for a long time, so I'm psyched to see that September 29th, 2 days after my birthday. Yeah.
Birthday present.
Absolutely. Hey, anybody out there that wants to get me Cuphead for, my
I know
birthday.
some news you're excited for, the Minecraft update.
Oh my gosh. My son, he saw that and he just looks at me and he goes,
Really?
Because we have the PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah.
And Windows 10 editions of Minecraft. So all that stuff they talked about, not available on those two platforms.
Oh, man.
So
I
it's kind of...
I understood it to be they were update all the platforms.
Not all at the same time, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Minecraft is multi-platform, but all platforms do not get all the DLC at the same time.
No, but I understood them to they were update all of them to have like cross-platform play and things. Did I totally imagine that? Or...
Cross-platform play is for all systems except PS4.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Bullshit.
So no, I'm not. Oh yeah, it is bullshit. I agree. But to be clear, it's Sony that blocked it, not Microsoft.
Well, I know that, but still.
Even like on the...
I have it for PC anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Even on the 360, or is it just current? Do you know?
I think it's just current, from what I gathered. It's a consoles though, so that can be into it.
So, Robert Walker says, "I'm pretty sure we'll be getting cutscenes in Sonic Mania."
Speed Racer, anything from Microsoft that stood out to you?
Well, as a Microsoft fanboy, the one thing I was really looking forward to, or that I saw that I look forward to now, was the Xbox backwards compatibility. Back to Crimson Skies. Crimson Skies is like if you've never played like a flight simulator, not simulator, but flight combat game, like Crimson Skies is a game to jump into because it's not overly complicated, but it's not real easy. And man, it's just a great game. And to see that coming back on the Xbox One, it's going to be so much fun. Besides that, I was looking at Black Desert. I don't know if you guys know about Black Desert. It is an RPG game on the PC. It is by far the most customizable RPG you can ever play as far as the characters go. And bringing that to the Xbox looks good. Crackdown 3. I love Crackdown. I really wanted to be excited. But they just didn't show enough. They didn't show enough of the game.
Yeah, I think the biggest question that people have about that one is, are the environments still destructible?
Only a multiplayer.
Really?
It's only a multiplayer. I was just reading an article about it where they're saying somebody who had played it on the showroom floor was saying there is still complete destructible environments, but only in multiplayer. In single player, there's destructible environments, but they're not as big as multiplayer.
That's kind of disappointing.
Gotcha.
It is.
Now that said, are they done with the game, or were these like work in progress builds, or was this finished?
They're still work in progress.
So, folks, it could change, right? Especially if you give them a shout out on the social media, let them know what you think. Maybe you can influence them one way or the other.
My favorite part was Sea of Thieves, dude. I'm gonna get my crew together and be pirates.
But have you played it yet? Have you played it?
Sea of Thieves, no.
I played it. Like, I'm on the Xbox Insider program. I played it. I've tried like 6 or 7 play sessions, and it's fun the first couple times, but it gets repetitive real quick. With that said, I have not played the new updates. They released the E3 updates that they announced at E3, so those will be available to play tomorrow night for the groups that play it. So I am looking forward to jump back in and trying it again, but I don't know. It's a big gamble. I'm not going to say it's bad, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Now I do have there's 2 more games that kind of stood out to me, and one of them I don't think is exclusive, or if it is, it has to be.
I know you're talking about that.
Well, before I get to that, I was going to mention Last Night. I don't know if you guys saw the footage for Last Night.
Yes. Which one that was again?
What was that?
For what?
Which one? Last Night. What was that about again?
Go ahead and Speed Racer. Give us a bit about Last Night.
It's kind of like a pixelated HD version of a game, but I don't know a whole lot about it. It looked really good. The problem is, and this is going to be, it sounds silly, but the problem is the guy who created the game, there's this big media storm about him today because of things he said in the past on social media.
Oh.
So people were really big about this game, and everyone was excited for it. Started digging into it today, and all of a sudden there's this stuff he had said, 3 or 4 years ago about feminism and other things. Unfortunately, that's coming. I agree. There's things that should be said and shouldn't be said, but when it comes to video games, you shouldn't hold a game like the actual quality of a game on what somebody said 4 years ago. People change, things change.
Yeah.
It looked like a great game. It literally looked like a good game.
Yeah, it was unclear if it was like an adventure game in the Thimbleweed Park or Maniac Mansion style, or it was kind of ambiguous, and like you said, it did kind of shift from like modern graphics to pixel graphics in kind of an interesting way. So hopefully, as you said, if this guy was not a nice guy in the past, hopefully he's learned and mended his ways. But we'll see how that turns out. Jeremy, as you mentioned, though, Life is Strange. Yes, Life is Strange before
by the way, the original right now is free on PS4. Get it now.
Yes, folks, if you have PS4 and you have PlayStation Plus, you have, for this month only, you can go and you can download Life is Strange, the entire season. Highly recommend that you do so. It is a good game. It is worth playing. Keep in mind, this is not a game for the kids. So this game uses... this game... Go ahead.
I found my 12-year-old son playing it this morning. Like, what are you playing? What is this? And he's like, it's Teenage Girl Simulator.
Just as a heads up, episode 1 is that way. Episodes 2 through I think 6 or something. The maturity level of the content ramps up quite a bit. Not in the nudity sense or whatever. I don't want to say too much and give it away for folks that haven't played it. Folks, if you want like a full, no holds barred, spoiler laden, discussion of it, Kyle and I have thought about having a full in-depth discussion on Life is Strange, complete with maybe me doing like a speed playthrough of certain sections and everything to kind of show folks what we're talking about. But yeah, this is definitely. If your 12-year-old does play it, expect them to have some really interesting questions and ask them, follow-ups like, ask, hey, how far did you get, right? And I would at least, if you don't plan to play it yourself, I would go ahead and read spoilers or read a storyline to see what kind of themes they're going to encounter and see if after they're done with that part of the game, they need somebody to kind of talk to, because there could be triggers in the game for different folks.
Yeah. I mean, I not to cut you off or anything, Chris, but I agree with you. I would definitely avoid it for younger ages like that, because it really does kind of look at it, especially the way it presents content, just kind of better weighted until being older for that, I think, especially.
Yeah. To be clear, it's a great game. It is a great game, and the material is presented in a thoughtful and thought-provoking way. But it's also in a very unashamed way. Like it does not pull any punches. So if you're not ready for that level of content, or if it's your first encounter with that kind of content, it can be kind of jarring. I know a few times my wife and I were playing the game together. We started out playing the first episode, taking turns with my son watching. And then after the first episode, I kind of got this vibe of like, maybe we ought not let our son watch while we play this game. And as we got into episodes 2 and 3, there was several times where I had 2 comments from my wife. First count was, I am so glad I didn't let my little kid continue to watch us play this game. That was number 1. But then number 2 was like, I am so impressed that they actually tackled content like that, because I've never seen a game actually try to do this and pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
So to its credit. But so Life is Strange, Before the Storm, this is not the sequel. Don't Nod mention that they're working on a sequel to Life is Strange, which actually is going to deal with different characters and a different story. So doesn't take place in Arcadia Bay, doesn't follow Max or Chloe. This is not that sequel. This is purely, they've made it clear on their page, this is purely fan service. Like people really want to see the characters again, really want to see more about Arcadia, want to know more of the backstory that led to some of the futures and stuff that we see for some of these characters in the current game. And so this was their way to kind of give back to those fans that have kind of just made the game go from a sleeper to like mega popular. And so if you get the deluxe edition, there's going to be a Max's Farewell. There's going to be an extra episode that's only available with the deluxe edition, where you can play as Max one last time. The other thing that I found was interesting, and I only found this through a bunch of reading, is that the actress that voice acted Chloe in the first game is going to be writing the dialogue for the younger version of Chloe in the sequel here. So, because it's going to be her, like, I guess 3 or 4 years younger than in the current game. So they're using a different voice actress, but the original voice actress is going to be going through the dialogue and making sure that everything is true to the original character that they established. So,
but did she write any of the dialogue for Chloe originally?
I don't know. But they did mention that apparently, in addition to being a voice actress, she's also an Emmy award-winning writer. So.
Okay.
This isn't her first dance writing, so this makes me really excited that it is somebody who knows the original content, knows the original character. It doesn't seem to me like they're just kind of like lobbing this out there to like as a cash grab. It seems like they genuinely, want this to be a good addition to the original. And the other reason too that they mentioned that they did a prequel instead of a sequel is that there's different ways the game can end. And they didn't want to canonize either of those endings. So this was a way for them to kind of go back, revisit the environment. Now, there are going to be some limitations. They say don't expect you to be able to rewind time. You don't have that ability like you did in Life is Strange. So it's not going to be an exact, mechanical copy of this game. But I think that can be an interesting thing. I think it'll make the stakes a little bit higher. Sometimes in some of the more intense scenes, I feel like toward the end, the stakes weren't quite as high as they could have been, because you were like, I can go back, I can rewind, I can always try this out. And if things go totally sideways, I can change it. Knowing that you can't do that this time around, and there's certain events that happen in Life is Strange that's already out that I'm pretty sure they can't change if they're that determined to keep canon. So there are certain things that we know must happen in order for the game that we've already played to take place. So I'm expecting this one's going to be probably as intense, if not more, as the first one, because in some of the cases, I don't want to give anything away, but there are certain events I do not. Part of me does not want to follow along with the story, knowing that those events are going to come to pass and that there's nothing that can be done to stop it.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how everything turns out. I do hope that one of my, biggest criticisms was, and I know it wasn't the same for you, Chris, because you felt a little bit differently about how, in my opinion, the second chapter had a lot of action and a lot of decisions and stuff going for it. And then, not that the other ones were bad or anything, but it was kind of like a roller coaster where I felt like, and then the rest of it just didn't quite. reach that level of intensity. So not that it was bad. It just I felt like it was kind of almost, I hate to say detrimental, but it wasn't the same kind of pacing and stuff. So it felt a little different than that second chapter. So I would like to see, hopefully, maybe a little more of a consistent ride going with that, or being able to maintain some of that intensity a little longer through the game before we kind of go back down that loop a little bit. So
yeah. So bottom line, looking forward to it. You know, even if it's Xbox timed exclusive, I think it'll be worth jumping into. If you haven't played the first one, play it on and you have PS Plus, download it, get it while it's free, play through it, and then decide for yourself if you want to snap it up on Xbox One, or if you want to wait and grab it when it comes out on the PS4. Either way you can get it, it's a great experience. I don't think either version is notably better than the other.
Well, and I think all of us would agree. I mean, I think you can get it for like $15 or $17 if you just buy the actual game. PC, they have it on sale regularly, $5 for the whole thing. And I think any of those ways, as long as you just kind of take the game for what it is, I always suggest not going into things with much of any expectations and just kind of seeing how you enjoy it. I think it's easy to say that it's worth that money that you'll spend on it. I got a good amount of hours out of it too. So
yeah, I walked into it thinking it was teen girl simulator, and just playing it because like I don't know how the hell this gets such rave reviews from everybody, but I'll give it a shot. And even after I beat the first episode, I was like, okay, not really anything to write home about. But after the second episode on, it was just like, holy shit, I have to know what happens next. Right. So it was definitely, and then there were certainly parts where like you make a decision, and the fact that you made that decision, you're like, okay, I should technically stop playing right now, but that totally did not work out the way that I expected it would. So I need to go just a little bit further to figure out before it's too late. Like, should I go back and change it, or what's the deal?
Right.
So,
well, we'll try to save that, I guess, for the video, because there's definitely a lot to be talked about with the game. So
yeah. So Jeremy, we're gonna switch platforms now, I think. There's lots of stuff mentioned for the Xbox. For me, that was the highlight, unless anybody else has anything I missed.
One more thing. I hate the Xbox One's new name. I prefer Scorpio.
Xbox One X.
So
which someone pointed out, it spells out Xbox.
Yes. So I mean, that's kind of clever, but I'm with you, Jeremy, in terms of I think Scorpio or Scorpio X would have been better. I certainly think it would have been easier to distinguish. I could see a lot of people like sitting around the Christmas tree going, "Ma, I said 1X, not S, X, X, X."
Right. We should move on to Bethesda. Speed Racer, what do you think of Bethesda?
After last year and what was last year, Fallout 4? I mean, it was okay. I really think that we're getting into this situation where we're so hyped for things that we're expecting or wanted. If they had said, "Oh yeah, Fallout New Vegas remaster," man, I would have gone crazy. But they didn't. And with what's going on, I'm not big on VR myself. I think the Creation Studio is good. It needs to happen, but I don't know. I just wasn't too impressed. Wolfenstein looked good.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
You know what? I have to say the same thing with EA. Like, it didn't disappoint me, but there weren't really any surprises in there. So I just I saw a whole bunch of like, all right, cool, not for me next. not to hate on, they make some really great games. My wife is a big fan of a bunch of their games and stuff, but there wasn't. I still have Fallout 3 and 4 in my backlog, so I'll be a late bloomer when it comes to Bethesda love.
Yeah, it's mostly VR, Creation Club, Elder Scrolls Legends, a card game. I don't do card games. Skyrim's coming to Switch. That's cool. And cool about that, you can actually use your Link Amiibo, and you get the Master Sword and the Hyrule Shield in Skyrim. I'll pay for that.
Is there going to be a new amiibo for that, or do you just use one of the ones that's already?
As far as I know, it's just the ones that are out now. Let's see. Yeah.
More amiibos.
Quake Champions is going on. It's $1 million prize. So if you get a Quake Champions, I say go for it.
Do you know if they mention if that's going to include single player stuff as well and like bots, or is it just going to be all multiplayer?
I imagine all multiplayer. I don't imagine they do bots.
Bring the bots back. I like to play by myself. I don't like playing with people.
They're mean. They always kill me.
Yeah.
I think Duke Nukem said it best when he said, "Don't have time to play with myself."
And Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein looks cool. Other than that, overall, the weekend wasn't very good for you.
Did you say Beyond Good and Evil 2?
No, that's later. Evil Within 2.
Okay. I couldn't remember who was doing that one.
I do have to tell you, like Robert's been talking in the forums or in the chat here about the Mario and Rabbids crossover. Says, I hate the idea of the Mario and Rabbids crossover. Why? Peach Rabbit selfie gave me flashbacks of Cosmo and Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents doing
I grew up with that show. Just saying.
So I guess what I have to say is I'm actually kind of excited for the Rabbids Mario crossover, and let me tell you why.
Let's wait until Nintendo do that. I think.
Oh, you want to save it for the Nintendo part? Okay.
Yeah, because Ubisoft is next.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's his Ubisoft.
Well, this was Ubisoft though. I thought it was like all cleverly segued.
I forgot they both did. I forgot both Ubisoft and Nintendo did it. Yeah.
So it's up to you. We can do it now or later.
Yeah, go ahead. I forgot Ubisoft.
No, I was just gonna say. So part of the reason that I'm excited for it is that it looks like Nintendo and Ubisoft just really embrace this concept of like, you know, a world with Mario and the Rabbids kind of coexisting. It's not like Skyrim with a Zelda skin. It's not, you know, Bayonetta in Smash Brothers, right? Like this is Nintendo unashamedly making a game that's as much a Rabbids game as it is a Mario game. And here's why I'm really pumped about that, because I have not gotten excited about Mario games since Mario Maker. And one of the things that Mario Maker kind of like got me to understand is, wow, like in general, I'm kind of burned out on the whole Mario thing. Like really, like New Super Mario Bros. 2, 3, 4, New Super Mario Bros. Switch. Like I'd be like, maybe I'll get it. My son will enjoy it, but you know, it's kind of like the move sets have stayed pretty much the same. The mechanics have stayed pretty much the same. Collecting coins has kind of gotten old. I mean, I'm still a fan of Mario, and the games look fantastic and they play fantastic. I've just gotten to the point where like they're not really gonna, until Rabbids Mario, right? They weren't really showing me anything that I hadn't seen before or couldn't imagine like, oh, okay, this is the direction that you're going. But with Rabbids, it's like I'm back to that, like, I don't know what to expect. Now you're going to have guns, now you're going to have this and that. You're going to have, I mean, I love the hell out of the Raving Rabbids games on the Wii and the Wii U, just because you didn't really know what to expect. The creatures are so unpredictable, so irreverent, and so just boneheaded stupid that, like, literally anything is not just possible, but plausible. Right? Like, you know, so am I going to look forward to Mario levels where, like, you have to make it through the whole level with a plunger on the guy's face or, you know, something like that? I mean, it's got me questioning, like I used to when I was a kid, like, what can a Mario game be? Like, to me, it's like the first, like, reveal of Super Mario 3, where you realize there's these different suits and all this other stuff. Like, for the first time, just like when I was a kid seeing Mario 3 going, my goodness, like, what else is possible? I'm wondering what actually is going to be in this game. What can it have? What's going to happen? What's the story about? How'd they bring the two worlds together? Is this a one-off thing? Is this going to be the start of a franchise? I'm actually pumped about a Mario game. So for that reason, I'm kind of a fan. I like what they're doing, and I'm interested to see where they go with it, but maybe that's just me.
No, I think that will be kind of interesting. I mean, for me, I guess it's more interesting from the idea that, you know, Nintendo is putting one of their biggest IPs, and it's going to be with like another kind of like publisher or whatever, another console. So that's definitely interesting. I'm wondering if this is kind of the start of a mark of them kind of putting more, I guess you could say, like side titles out on other consoles. So that's definitely something to be curious about and to be watching. And, you know, what does that mean for Nintendo essentially? And it was funny. All the people on the XCOM page were joking. Oh man, the new XCOM expansion looks great. So we'll see. I think it would be fun to kind of have. I like the cover-based shooters, and there's not necessarily a whole lot of them. So it would be interesting, I guess, to have like a little more lighthearted one. So we'll see. I guess it's Ubisoft, and they've kind of been getting a hard time on things lately. So who knows? Maybe working with Nintendo could be like the start of a new era of Ubisoft. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, despite some people's like current dislike of the rabbits and everything, I think we need to remember the track record wise, like sales wise and popularity wise, Ubisoft has had more hits than misses with the rabbits.
Yeah.
So
I've never played any of the Rabbids game, but I know you were saying they were pretty good. So if you have anywhere you suggest to start with those, I guess, since I imagine a lot of people maybe haven't played those.
Well, I would say if you're gonna play any of the mini game ones, the very first Raving Rabbids is pretty decent for what it is. It's a party mini game thing, multiplayer mostly. The shooting sections are pretty good. They've got a lot of there's different types of things in the mini game, but one of my favorites is you have a gun that shoots plungers, and you basically shoot a bunch of rabbits in the face with plungers. But it's like Area 51 or like like Lethal Enforcers, only you could play it with your kids and not feel not feel bad. But if you're not into the minigame thing and you want to play more of like a traditional platformer and that kind of stuff, but with good good mechanics and all that other stuff, Rabbids Go Home is an excellent entry in the series. So those are two good places I'd say to start. So
cool.
Just a side note, the Mario Rabbids game is only going to be on the Switch. It's not going to be a multi-console release. So
Okay. That's my bad. I thought that was going to be on a different console as well.
I was wondering. I was like, maybe I didn't hear about this, but I'm not gonna. So
No,
thank you, Tyler. I thought I'd missed something because I only caught it in the Nintendo materials. I hadn't seen it in the Ubi materials, so I couldn't say either way. Thank you for keeping us honest.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering it myself. I was like, what? Okay.
Well, I thought that was kind of strange, but I was like, well, I guess since they're doing that, they must be putting it on a console or something.
How do you feel, sir? What are your thoughts on Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, South Park looked good. It's been slowly coming along. It's not. I don't want to say good. It doesn't look good. It looks entertaining more than anything.
Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth.
Yeah, Stick of Truth is great. It's a great game. My things I'm looking forward to: Skull and Bones.
Yes. Yeah.
I love the original Assassin's Creed. I kind of took a downside to the next two, but then when Assassin's Creed Black Flag came out, like the ship battles drew me in, and then Assassin's Creed Rogue, like the ship battles drew me into that. It was so much fun. For Skull and Bones to be basically a game that consists of the Assassin's Creed ship battles, it looks so good. It really looks fun. Besides that, this new one they're talking about, Starlink. It's kind of like a space shooter, but with toys. You actually attach the toy to your controller, like the amiibos or like. It looked really interesting. I'm not gonna say I'll buy it, but it looked good. It looked fun.
Everything you said there, 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Especially South Park. I really want South
Far
Park.
Cry 5. Far Cry 3 and 4 were great games. Far Cry 5 looks interesting. I think we're gonna see a lot of upset people when that comes out.
I already seen upset people about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I played 4. I didn't really like it that much, and I guess I saw 5, and I didn't really watch much of the promo things. I think I saw the first release video. It's kind of like, we're trying to be edgy by being politically
I can see that.
modern. I guess I don't know. I guess I just like the idea more of a game taking place like somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't have.
Country.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have any problem with all the ideas and everything they're going with and stuff. They can do whatever they want. I guess
I pitched the idea of it happening in my backyard, but they flat out rejected it.
I would play.
There was one other Ubisoft thing I thought was kind of interesting. Just Dance 2018 is going to be released on the Switch, the Wii U, and the Wii.
So
wait.
on release day, Tyler is going to live stream him just dancing in his dining room, folks.
No, I'm just. It's kind of interesting that it's coming out for the Wii.
It's too late. You already promised them.
Wait,
Are you sure? I didn't hear that. It's coming out for
the
That's
original
interesting.
or the Wii?
Yeah, which is
What?
kind of funny, right? I mean,
You know what's crazy about Just Dance is they were going through they were having these interviews with people, these little stories, like the inspirational stories of these people who like didn't dance or anything, but they start playing Let's Dance or Just Dance, and they're like the champions of Just Dance. I didn't even know there was like a championship series of Just Dance. It's like crazy. That was like some kids played for fun.
I know there's like DDR, but I didn't know there was that for Just Dance either.
Hey, I could see it, and I think that that's really a great thing. I think that a lot of times we can get kind of caught up, and I'm noticing it a lot, especially this E3. Like I'm noticing a lot of people like going like, "Oh, PlayStation won this round," or Sony won, or Microsoft won, or this or that, and I think
on Facebook right now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that just going, no, I think the gamers are winning right now. I mean, if you look at it, like, I'm seeing a Sony that is getting kind of scared. Like, why would Sony choose to be the only platform that doesn't have cross-play on Minecraft, right?
Is that the only one? They do several games they refuse a cross-play.
Well, right, but I mean, I think especially now, like, if you've got a console that's outclassing you by several times in the graphics department, and somebody's playing Minecraft on that, and they're like, "Hey, come meet me in the thing. I can't see it. What are you talking about? It's right in front of you." "Oh, I'm not at the same resolution as you, or I can't see that far ahead as you can see." I could see these conversations kind of coming together that end up, not painting them maybe in the best light. But if you just don't let that communication happen, right? It's kind of like being in North Korea. You don't know what's going on, right? It's like, did we actually go to the moon? I don't know. It's a nice story, but
Oh, God,
I see what you're saying on that. Like, I see what you're saying. I think part of it goes along with what you're saying is this generation of consoles, Sony has the exclusive games.
Yeah.
And they have Call of Duty. Call of Duty being the exclusive game. So when people start talking about the console wars, who's winning and losing, I am thoroughly convinced it comes down, as much as everyone hates it, it comes down to Call of Duty. Because if you have Call of Duty as an exclusive, people are coming to your console to buy it. Xbox had it how many years now? Xbox had it for years and years.
I can believe that.
On top. It's absolutely crazy. It's
for a while there, right? Street Fighter 2, when I guess you could consider that a timed exclusive of the day, right? The first iterations of Street Fighter 2 coming out exclusively for the Super Nintendo, right? Yeah. Like Genesis was trying. I think the thing that helped them a lot in their relevancy was convincing Capcom to release a Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Genesis.
Absolutely.
So I absolutely would not be surprised if there's just a few, a lot of times I hear it, and this is a valid statement, right? Like, PlayStation has more and better exclusives. That is inarguable. That is pretty much fact. I think the challenge in 2018 is going to be, though, there's going to be a lot of multi-plats, and honestly, just hardware-wise, the multi-plats are going to look, sound, and play better on the Xbox One S. I'm sorry. It's just, unless the developers totally, completely cop job it, they're going to look and play better on the One X. It's just, it's pure and simple math and physics, right? Exactly. So, and so the design of the new Xbox is just really, really hot. But that said, if we take the Pro and the Scorpio out for a moment, right, and we just look at like base consoles, so now you can get yourself a PlayStation 4 for $250. You can get yourself an Xbox One S for $200. Guys, like, for just a little bit over what one of these consoles would have cost you at their original launch, you can now own both consoles, which both have great exclusive games.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Like, why not have a bit from column A and a bit from column B, right?
I agree.
I don't think you need to pick a side. I think those days are over, at least this generation.
Right.
Yeah. And Adam noted in the chat a little more about the Sony not having the cross-platform play and stuff, which I don't know. That's surprising. I wouldn't expect them to be like, oh, we don't want cross-platform play, but I don't know what the actual reasons are behind that. You know, if it like costs more money to do things like that or what.
There's probably a lot more. There's probably more testing involved. There's probably a question of the infrastructure, like where's the game getting served. You know, probably the priority, right? Like if you're playing Minecraft, for example, and it's on a server for Xbox One users, what assurances does Sony have, right? If I take off the tinfoil hat for a second and think that beyond just, oh, maybe it's Sony wanting to keep people locked in their walled garden, what assurances does Sony have for Microsoft that Minecraft servers that sit on Microsoft servers for Xbox One are going to give any kind of decent priority to PlayStation gamers?
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I read an interview right before we came on tonight. It was, I believe, it was IGN or it was GameSpot with the interview with one of the heads of Sony, and they said the reason they do not believe in the cross-platform was because it is their best interest to keep the interest of the gamers in mind as far as quality of life issues on the console goes. Meaning exactly what you just said. They don't want to have the Xbox saying we're going to give server time to them and not to them, so on and so on. It's about quality for them. So they're saying. Who knows?
Yeah,
Well,
I can totally understand that. Go ahead, Kyle.
And that's I think that's kind of what came up with the Skyrim modding issue or whatever as well, that they didn't do that because essentially what it sounded like was Microsoft wasn't going to have like a process for, I guess, like quality assurance on the mods or something, where basically if someone made a mod, you could just download it just like a PC. Whereas like Sony wanted like quality assurance and things going through, and I don't know if developers like would have to pay for that or whatever, but hence why that was kind of different between the consoles. So I guess they are kind of taking that approach then, it sounds like, with the cross-play and stuff as well. Though it sounds like perhaps it's being almost even though I guess it's kind of sad to say, kind of detrimental to them being a little bit too careful perhaps with all of that.
Yeah, I guess we'll we'll see. I think another thing could be the Sony has very, very strict kind of testing process and everything. Not to say that Microsoft doesn't. I actually don't know a whole lot of Microsoft's testing and certification process, because generally we don't see it hang up a lot of games. But we have seen, I think, especially for limited run games and different folks, we've seen numerous times developers blindsided by just how long it can take to get through a certification cycle on the Sony platform. Now, I'd like to think that that means you're getting better games out of it. So I don't think that it's Sony, trying to ask for anything unreasonable. Just maybe setting the bar, pretty high. But I think that it's got to be a lot trickier to test. I mean, we've certainly seen games that launch with weak multiplayer at the networking layer, right? People having, dropping out of the lobby, dropping out of the game, extreme lag, all this stuff. That's got to be hard enough when you own the network, you own the infrastructure, you own the software end to end. But now you could have these weird problems where, you only get certain kinds of lag when there's, half the people are on Xbox and half the people are on PlayStation 4. And back to what Speed Racer said, right? Like, who then is on the hook for actually debugging that, testing that, digging through the code? Does it require releases on both platforms to sort out? So now is Sony getting pressured to release some patch expediently and get it through certification quickly because Xbox users are complaining that PlayStation 4 users are lagging their system? And then what's that look like from a PR standpoint? Mm-hmm. So I could see it being a lot more layers to the onion than just, oh, we don't want to play.
Yeah.
I think it's like Speed Racer said, like, what's in it for the gamer, and can we ensure that the gamers have a solid experience?
Yeah.
Okay, ready to move on to Sony, which was on Monday.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to start us off, Tyler, with Sony?
You're muted, my friend.
I am muted. I actually didn't watch the Sony one. I was at work, so I missed that one.
All right, Speed Racer, you want to start us off on Sony?
Yeah, for Sony, I'm really, as much as I hate to say it, I'm looking forward to another remaster of Shadow of the Colossus. But there's a big but here. Only if they fix the controls and the camera.
Yes.
Oh, it's just crazy. I'm looking forward to that. God of War. I always welcome a brainless hack and slash game to sit down and enjoy. And like I said earlier, Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World looks really good. That seems to be something that can be played for a long period of time. I seem to find myself, I buy a lot of games, but generally there's 1 or 2 games that stay in the console. So I like to have games I can play for a long time. And Monster Hunter World looks to be that. Horizon Zero Dawn, the DLC for that. I thought Horizon Zero Dawn was absolutely amazing game. It'll be good to see DLC for that. But besides that, I mean, yeah.
I personally cannot get enough of Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, same here, dude. Like when I saw it again this year, I was like, dude, Dash is right, dude. This is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up and take my money.
I'm afraid it's gonna be a Watch Dogs situation.
That's true, because Watch Dogs was hyped and Watch Dogs was
I think it's, at least for me, and I'm sure Chris coming into this is really wanting this out of the game too. It's really going to depend on the story and how well they actually address like the philosophy and the issues that they're really trying to capture in the game.
Yes.
So we'll see about that. I really hope they really center it on that, because I think that'll be interesting. You know, everyone always does this kind of like in Mass Effect, you know, you have the guess and everything, and there's always, like Frankenstein, there's this idea of what does a creator owe to the created and things like that. But I'm not sure if we've ever actually been put in that position of actually being like, specifically with robots, like the android or the robot, seeing it from that perspective. So that'll definitely be interesting, and I hope they explore that quite a bit.
Nailed it, Kyle.
Days Gone looked amazing. By the way, a former guest is actually involved with that game right now on Days Gone.
Which game?
Days Gone, the zombie game.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that looked good.
Former guest of ours is actually working on that game right now. I wonder who it is, fans.
Which one?
Mark Farley.
Oh, nice. Is he doing the sound design for that?
Mm-hmm. He's also did sound design for E3, the ending.
Awesome. That's pretty awesome. I wonder if we can, we'll have to see if we can get him back on the show.
I'll talk to him again. I'm going to get hate for this stuff, but I'm a World War II fan. I like to Nate knows that. I like to read about it, watch it, but I want Call of Duty. Purely because it's World War II. Purely because it's World War II.
You know what? No shame. No shame, right? Like, here's the deal, right? Like, I get that these games aren't for everybody, but here's the deal, right? Like, we can't deny the fact that, you know, anything that draws a crowd to the console is good for you if you're an owner of that console. Because as we saw with the Wii U, right? They did not have a Call of Duty, right? Yeah. They did not have a Halo, and what happened to them? So
yeah. Only reason, because I love War II, I love reading about it, I love what's special about it. Only reason I haven't bought Call of Duty in years.
Hey, you know what? And I think it's cool. I you know, anytime I hear somebody who is not traditionally a fan of a genre, suddenly, like, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, Speed Racer, like your wife, like going like, wow, this football game. I'm kind of like engrossed in this pitch for the football game. I think as games are able to kind of bring people in from outside of their zone there, you know, I think that we're getting closer and closer to gaming greatness. Honestly.
And of course,
a new golden era.
The best part was the ending, Spider-Man. I'm not a Spider-Man fan, but when I saw that game, I was like, yes, that's on the wish list.
So, what do you guys think of a Monster Hunter World?
I want it. I never played one, but I want it.
Yeah, it looks good.
I would.
Good.
One thing I would suggest, if you haven't played a Monster Hunter game before, I mean, I guess sometimes they're still a little bit pricey, but I would highly suggest maybe trying an older one that's like really cheap. Like I have like Monster Hunter Tribe that I got for like $5. I would just recommend doing that first, just to make sure that Monster Hunter is your kind of game. Especially, it depends on whether you play it single player or with other people. I may have to look into that, I guess, because I don't have anyone that I play Monster Hunter games with. I tried to get into it. I'm not really into it, but I was surprised. I figured the Switch would have a new Monster Hunter game and stuff, but it sounds like that's going to be a PS4 exclusive.
I wasn't sure.
I don't know about
Yes,
exclusive, but they haven't announced it for Switch.
didn't they announce something for Switch next year for Monster Hunter?
I thought because Sony did maybe.
I don't
I
know.
didn't catch it. I'm not saying they didn't, but I didn't catch it. If they
I know
did.
there's the. Gosh, I don't know what it's called. Because there was a Monster Hunter thing I went to, and there's like some kind of, but I think that was 3DS that they were doing it for in Japan or something. So
Could have
been. That was more cartoonish stylings at least. So I don't know if that's XX or not, but I was surprised. I was kind of expecting to see that on the Switch instead of the PlayStation. So guess we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of Switch, if we're done with Sony, there were a few other things. I don't know if we want to mention all of them.
Go to Nintendo.
Okay, I was gonna say we could jump to Nintendo. I thought that Nintendo. I've been saying this a lot this show. I know I'm gonna say it one more time. Didn't really surprise me. Also, did not disappoint me though, and I have a bit more of a positive uptick on the didn't disappoint me.
Yes, XX on Switch. Adam just confirmed.
Yep. Thank you, Adam, for the confirmation. So he also made the connection that since Microsoft owns Rare and Rare has a history with Nintendo, he kind of feels like he gets this vibe that there might be some sympathy between Microsoft and Nintendo, and implying that there might be some connection between Microsoft and Nintendo doing crossplay, but then Sony being the odd man out. It might be convenient for them that Sony's the odd man out because it kind of allows them to do a tag team against a common maybe rival.
Yeah.
And with Microsoft at least having, in theory, folks that are from a company that has history with Nintendo, maybe that's where some of that friendliness comes from.
Yeah. Well,
it's an interesting speculation.
Considering the history of Sony and Nintendo and everything, I guess it's no surprise to see no love lost between them. So,
yeah, definitely. That is true. This is getting a little too Glenn Beck for me, guys. We're coming up with all these connections.
Uh-oh.
And that's about as political as we'll ever get on the show. No. So what I thought was really good from Nintendo is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I was surprised as hell to see that they're talking about that coming out in holiday 2017. Is that for real?
That's correct.
Yes.
Dude, you could knock me over with a feather right now.
Well,
that's completely coming out of nowhere, so much so that I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, Pro Jared was saying he was expecting he wouldn't be surprised if there was a delay on it, which I don't know. I got the Chronicle that you're not controlling them, you're just kind of controlling the movement and then the power up things. So I'm not really a Chronicles person.
Gotcha. Kirby, always good to see a Kirby game, although that's not going to hit us till 2018. Metroid Prime 4, no date, no anything, just basically the word Metroid Prime 4, and then the music. Yeah, the music from Metroid Prime 3 playing, which actually I really dig, so it was kind of neat that they did that. Or maybe it was the original Metroid Prime. I don't remember. Anyway. Super psyched for that. So a first-person Metroid. There's also going to be a 2D Metroid, ironically on the 3DS.
3DS, yeah.
So, but psyched for both of those. But I think that they're at least Metroid Prime 4. I'm imagining we're not going to see that for at least another 3 years at least. So, I'm psyched for it, but I'm thinking we're going to get it for a while from now. The Breath of the Wild expansion pack, I agree, at $20 it's kind of overpriced. That said, I've already purchased it. So
you know what I've seen nobody talking about is Game Freak is actually making a Pokemon style RPG for the Switch, and I'm not seeing no one's talking about it. For me, I love Pokemon. My kids played Pokemon card game league. We went to the World Championships, and they love the video games. I've seen nobody talking about this Pokemon game for the actual Switch instead of the 3DS. And for me, it looks really interesting. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything on it, so.
I
But
did.
I tried getting into Pokemon. I like the card game's good. I just don't really care for the video game things.
How dare you?
I thought it was supposed to come out like way later. Like they didn't have much to announce. They said they're working on it, but later. You know.
Yeah. Adam Blevin wants to know who's picking up ARMS this Friday. I can tell you who's not.
I like any of us are picking that up.
Yeah, I mean,
no Switch.
I'm not hating on it. It looks like, folks that like Wii Boxing and all that kind of stuff probably would love this game. It looks like it's way more, in depth than Wii Boxing and everything. Definitely gives the nunchucks a workout if you have ones that actually pair with the console. But I'm still bitter about that because I'm so close to beating Zelda. I don't want to send the damn thing back. But it's brutal trying to play through the game with it. I'm this close to just buying a second set of controllers so that I can send the other ones back.
Watch those have issues.
Yeah. But what's that?
Watch those also have issues.
Oh man, that'd be the end of it. That'd be the end of it. But no, ARMS, the graphics look good, the gameplay looks fluid. Seeing people on the E3 floor playing the game, it looks like folks are having fun with it. So if you do have it, in your wish list and you're going to go out and grab it, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the doodly-doo. Did anyone here raise their hand? I missed it.
It looks interesting, but it's not for me.
Okay.
I think
know yet. I haven't made up my mind. Probably not like right away. I'll probably get it at some point. But
Gotcha.
I can't find a freaking Switch to buy. To this day.
Can you find those amiibos though?
Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, it's especially difficult in California because due to a logistics mix-up, California got shipped way fewer of the product than they were originally supposed to. So we got shortchanged in general.
It's not like California's the biggest state population-wise.
Hey, who knows? ARMS could really turn out to be a good hit. So I guess we'll see.
I see what you did there.
Puns aside, I could see it being one of those surprise, smash hits. So
look at knockout.
Splatoon. I mean, with a Splatoon with a smash hit like that, no one knew what to think of it.
Yeah,
it could be. It really could be.
Yep. So I have to give it to Nintendo for still. I guess, and I was thinking about this in the car today. It's like really the best thing I think the Switch currently has going for it is that Nintendo managed to work in all the gimmicks of the touchscreen, all the gimmicks of the handheld aspect, all the gimmicks of the motion controllers and everything. They managed to merge this all together into one console offering. But what's been really interesting in seeing all the different games that are coming out, unlike the last 3 generations, they're not requiring developers to buy into all the gimmicks. They're allowing it to be simply opt-in. Like, you got a touchscreen, use it or not, don't care. We got motion controls, use it or not, don't care. They're not saying like, no, but you don't understand. Like, the controller is a screen, and it's so cool if you completely rewrite your game to use it, whether the game benefits from it or not.
I thought Skyrim used the motion controls for the Switch. Because they're bringing that there.
Yeah. So I think, the fact that Nintendo is giving them the tools, but then allowing them the flexibility, right? They're taking a step back and saying, like, look, use it or not, it's there. We're going to use it. We have games like ARMS and stuff like that. But then they didn't try to, like, at no point am I playing Zelda Breath of the Wild and feeling like, oh, this part was clearly just here for the Switch. Right. I mean, the closest I get to it is the roller parts of it with the gyro.
I was going to say
and everything. But yeah. So I blame that more on the Wii U pad than on the Switch itself. So, but yeah, that one part aside, all the rest of Zelda feels like it's supposed to be there. So if ARMS feels like it was supposed to be made for those tools and everything, rather than somebody tried in vain to retrofit it to it because they had to meet some arbitrary, demand from Nintendo, I feel like we're going to get a lot better games because of it, because they'll be using the features because they want to. They're passionate about using them. They're excited about what they'll bring to the game, and you're going to get a better game and better game mechanics, I think, from that. So,
it's true.
Yep.
They also
Well said,
announced
Chris.
a whole bunch of amiibos.
So any final thoughts
Yep.
on E3 for everybody?
What was that?
Any final thoughts on E3 for everybody?
Well, I think Tyler was just talking about
Okay.
the metric ass ton of amiibos that
Right.
that Nintendo's going to be dropping on us soon.
I'm
Glad we're
so
getting
glad we
all
got
those
some
amiibos and not Switches.
Is that like an official unit of measure?
It is. I think it's the Canadian measurement.
I would know. I'm from Canada.
Eh?
Remember?
Okay.
So no, but yeah, they're going to be a bunch of Breath of the Wild amiibos, right? All of the pilots of the Divine Beasts are going to have.
Yeah.
Yep, all the champions are going to have their own amiibos. They haven't yet. They've alluded to the fact that these are going to unlock things in the game, but they haven't mentioned what. So it'll be kind of interesting to see, what they do. So I think it's interesting how I don't think that we can tell, and this is, I guess, what I want to kind of like say about E3. Like, I know a lot of people have had their opinions on like whether or not it was more than they hoped for, less than they hoped for, whether or not Nintendo wanted or Microsoft wanted or Sony. But I think what's really, kind of interesting is that I get the impression from this E3 that the next 2 years at least of gaming are anybody's game. And I see a lot of stuff kind of getting thrown out there. Not in like a half-ass sort of way, but in a like, well, if you think about it, like you could say, okay, Microsoft is just trying to one-up Sony. But if you look at how they're trying to one-up Sony with the Scorpio, right? Really trying to have true native 4K, making sure that you can do 4K Blu-ray as well as 4K gaming, not really cutting any corners. I see that, continuing to invest, as you pointed out, Speed Racer and backward compatibility. I see a Microsoft that knows it got its ass handed to it when it launched the Xbox One, but even now, 4 years later, they're still taking all that feedback to heart and going, you said you wanted backward compatibility? Here you go. You said that it mattered to you whether or not we were hitting the native resolution of your HD displays? Here you go, right? You're saying that frame rate matters to you. Here you go. And so, I see Microsoft really just kind of like saying, guys, don't be hypocrites. Like, you said you wanted this. Did you really want it? So now the only way that they're not going to be successful is if the gamers really aren't willing to put their money where their mouth was. Same thing with Nintendo Switch. Nintendo is saying like, look, you said you're done with Wii U. You just want us to move on to the next thing. So we're moving forward. We're doubling down. Here's the Switch. Now show up and get the games. So
Yeah, I'm just wondering how long the new console update thing every year or two is going to be sustainable, though.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much already.
Well, I think it's going to depend. I think Microsoft could potentially make a much longer and more successful run at this than Sony for backward compatibility, right? If you're going to commit to, making sure the next several refreshes, almost in like a Nintendo Game Boy progression line, right? Part of the reason that Game Boy stood the test of time as long as it did is because there were like something like 5 or 6 generations of Game Boy that still maintained backward compatibility with the original black and white cartridges. Not for nothing, but when you launch a platform and you've already got an embedded library of the entire previous generation, I know what some people are saying, that they want latest and greatest, but guys, if that was true, you wouldn't have bought Shadow of the Colossus 3 fucking times.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have. I'm
Exactly.
sorry, right? So clearly, Sony knows that there's money in nostalgia. There's money in the previous gen. They're just choosing to milk it out of you every console cycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's the fact, right? So I think if Sony tries to do with the PS5, right, what they did with the PS4, which is say like start over again, a whole new thing, I think that will at some point become harder for them to do when Microsoft's going, hey, last 3-4 generations, it's all still right there. Play what you want to play when you want to play it, my friends. Don't have to buy it again. I think that's going to be worth something to them, just like it was to Nintendo.
Yeah, because that has been a little bit of an annoyance. Not that I play a whole lot of like 360 games on the Xbox One or anything, but it's like it's kind of annoying when you want to play an older game, or like there's a lot of 360 games that I didn't even get around to, and then you have to go and hook up another console. Yeah,
Let me fire up some Dead or Alive 3.
OG right there.
Yeah, and that has been, it's not something that you necessarily use all the time, but it is one of those annoyances that you notice when you can't use it when it comes to backwards compatibility, and it has been kind of annoying with PlayStation. So
yeah,
like I would like to play Shadow of the Colossus, but then I have to get it for PS3. Then I have to hook my PS3 up. Then I got to keep it out just to play that one game. It's like,
yeah.
Just do what I do. Hook it all up.
Yeah. You can do like.
I guys do eventually.
I don't know if you guys saw for the Xbox One, but they're talking about with the Xbox backwards compatibility with Xbox games, you could actually hook up an Xbox 360, and an Xbox One all in LAN configuration and play the games together.
Dude, are you kidding me?
No, it's kind of crazy. It is crazy, and they're coming out with the Duke controller from the Xbox, the original Xbox.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
So we'll segue. You asked Jeremy if we had any extra stuff to throw in. Hyperkin, man, had actually a couple of surprises this go around. The two big surprises that they had is they're releasing the Xbox Whopper controller for PC and Xbox One. Controller. Yeah, like the original big giant. I was like, I didn't know that was something that people wanted to see come back, but I guess
I hated that thing.
I guess Hyperkin will find out. So. Another thing Hyperkin's thrown out there, the Atari 77. Here's the only factual stuff that we know about it so far. So it's called the Atari 77 because when Atari got released originally, it was in 77. So it's kind of celebrating their anniversary there of when the 2600 came out. But Atari 77 plays 2600 games directly from the cartridge. So we don't know yet if this is system on a chip or if it's emulation. My guess is probably that it's going to be emulation. But still, that's cool, right? Dust off your old 2600 cartridges. Maybe they'll throw in 5200 and 7800 compatibility. That would be pretty badass, I think.
Sweet.
That is surprising. I didn't hear that. Oh.
Yeah. So that's definitely coming out. Now, this, folks, don't get confused. Atari. There is rumors and there's been teasers from the current property owners of the Atari trademark that there's a new Atari console coming. This is not that. We still don't know what the hell that means. But new Atari console from Atari coming out aside, this is the Atari 77. It's going to be released by Hyperkin sometime in Hyperkin time, which could be any time between now and, like 20 years from now. So, but I'm actually pretty psyched. I think personally the quality of the Hyperkin machines has been a step above the AtGames machines. So I'm kind of stoked. The fact that it actually plays the cartridges, I'm really stoked about because I have about 80 Atari games.
Nice.
So,
nice.
But as we find out more about that, we'll let you guys know. And then Retrobit, as long as we're talking about the offbeat, the other companies there. Riding the retro curve. Retrobit has a new Game Boy portable system. Looks like the original Game Boy. It's got a bigger screen. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. It plays from original Game Boy all the way up to and including Game Boy Advance.
Wow.
It's got 4 buttons on the faceplate. It looks like original Game Boy, only a bit taller.
Is it the same thickness?
It's relatively the same thickness. It looks, if you were to look quickly at it, you'd be like, "Hey, that's a Game Boy," but not quite. It's Game Boy grown up a little bit. So,
my final thoughts of E3: 1 out of 10. Lack of Ace Combat.
Ace Combat.
Lack of Ace Combat. Well, let me ask you this, Jeremy. Right? Would you rather have a whole bunch of hype and hysteria about an Ace Combat that's coming out in 2019, or would you rather them wait until they got something real to show you?
I want the hype train to keep going all day long.
The hype plane. I think the hype plane.
Yeah, the hype plane.
I want to be the conductor of that train.
There we go. Hey, maybe the train that we saw that dude jumping on in Metro Exodus was the hype train heading to Ace Combat Station. What about that?
I had to, though. I had to watch the episode.
So, folks, regardless of which company you're rooting for, we hope that you're able to find a couple of things that you're looking forward to coming up. I really, like I said, I think over the next couple of years, I think that both the companies have basically shown that they've got a long-term view and commitment to gaming. So I think that, Nintendo is really going to come out swinging for the Switch for the foreseeable future. Same thing with Microsoft on the Xbox. Same thing with Sony on the PS4. So any of us that were kind of like totally deflated by having to watch the long, winding death of the Wii U, I think those days of sadness and abandonment are hopefully behind us, and we've got healthy consoles from all the heavy hitters that are going to have quite a bit of blood, new and borrowed, infused to them over the next several years. Surprisingly, though, Nintendo really didn't talk much about their subscription service for the retro games.
I was disappointed with that.
Yeah, I was actually surprised with that one. I expected at least some kind of, Mario 3 parade or something.
Mm.
So, folks, we went long, but we hope you enjoyed it. Give us your comments down in the doodly-doo. What do you think of E3? Do you agree with my philosophy, right? Why pick a side when you can have them both? So I think it's the way to be, the mark of a true gamer. So friends, don't let friends pick sides. Speed Racer, thank you for visiting us again.
Thanks for having me.
So, and Tyler, we're glad that you're able to jump in and join us, my friend.
So am I.
So, and set us straight on Mario not going multi-plat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can't have that.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. So, folks, we will see you next Tuesday.